All right, welcome to the Independent Characters 40K non-podcast. I'm not supposed to have a podcast anymore, but we
just
are.
Can't stop.
I can't stop.
Can't help yourself.
We are. Here's the thing. We're supposed to do a last episode, and I just haven't had the time yet. We haven't been able to schedule it. COVID, all the things. And the Tablewar, and it was supposed to coincide with the Tablewar Charities event that I'm on the board for going live. And of course, those things have not worked out how I expected. So I thought, and Todd and I were at the table, we were talking, and I thought, I'll talk to Colin, who has a great item up for auction. And it's great.
Thank you.
Because it's you.
It's good to be here on the non-final. Yeah, I am auctioning off my body.
Nice. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
My time.
It's not.
My time.
Yeah, your time. Okay.
I do want people to actually go to the website.
Yeah, we'll talk about all that in a little bit.
Yeah.
And but I thought, what better time to talk to Colin a little bit, catch up. And this is how out of practice I am. This is our second go around. I think we got 5 minutes into this before I realized I wasn't recording. Hold on, let me check the light. Yeah, we're recording. Okay.
Okay, good.
Double
was the
check.
best 5 minutes in the history of podcasts.
It probably was. It was probably the top tier. I looked at the light and I was like, does green mean it's recording or does red mean it's recording? And I was like, I can't remember. And then I looked at the panel and I'm like, oh, it's not recording. Like, darn it. Colin,
Perfect. Well,
stop talking. Let's start.
Good to get warmed up.
That's what it is. But I thought, people might be interested in hearing, what's been going on and where we're going and where the hell's the last episode and that kind of thing. And it's coming. It's coming.
People are always interested. This thing will drop and people will be excited to see it. So
I think so.
I'm happy to be here. I'm just happy to be talking to you, man.
I know. I really appreciate you joining, man. Yeah. So you have a Patreon going on, and that's your primary, that's your job now, right?
Yeah. So I do the Patreon, and I still do some commission work as well. And between those two, that's my primary source of income.
You lied to me.
I did.
And you said you weren't doing commissioning work, and now we've determined it's just because you don't want to do Thousand Suns.
It's the gold trim. That's what it is.
I see.
That's
fine.
No, I'm.
You know what? I'll make the offer. You just do all the base coats for me. I'll just get in there with a Sharpie and knock it right.
Yeah. Okay. This was fun.
Listen. I've been doing the Black Legion, and the Chaos guys have a lot of trim on them as well.
They do.
It's not so bad. On them, the Thousand Suns guys take that even another level. But
no, and that was what 3 or 4 years ago, 3 years ago, something like that. So I've gotten better.
You've recovered
in the meantime. Well, I wouldn't necessarily go that far. But no, so yeah, the Patreon's my primary kind of regular source of income.
Okay.
And I do still do commission work. I'm trying to get out of the army painting business.
Understood.
And more into individual characters, units, things of that nature.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Patreon's where I spend most of my time. And that's been, I think coming up, just finished 18 months on the Patreon, which is
wow,
a long time to be doing something like that, I think.
Are you enjoying it?
I am, yeah. I've
been shocked at the amount of content you put out. You put out a ton of content on your Patreon.
I do, and I have. So right now I have, I think it's over 250 individual video tutorials on the site, and then additional videos on top of that. So I recently did a bit of a content revamp on the Patreon where it's not just tutorials. I'm doing feedback for people's models, and I'm going to be doing some stuff with terrain and things like that. Armies on parade board, stuff like that. So just a lot of color scheme.
Did you pick up Dave Taylor's terrain book?
I did.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I did. It's really, really good. I'm going to be using some of the stuff from there for my Boise Cup display board, which will also be my Armies on Parade board this year. And then I also pledged for his new.
I did too. The art one, the art of
books.
Yeah, I did too.
Pledged for that too. So I'm excited.
I say Dave Taylor, but it should also include Mel on there since he did all the writing. Dave just did the publishing.
Mel had a bit to do with the terrain tour. But yeah, so it's been great. I still really enjoy it. And one of my favorite things to do is just working with other painters and helping them kind of get over the hump of taking their army to the next level.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm actually trying to get my room back in order so I can actually start. I've assembled all my Sisters of Battle stuff. Oof. Most of my Sisters of Battle stuff. I have a couple Exorcists I haven't assembled, and then I bought 2 more Battle Sister boxes because at the time that I made my initial purchase, I didn't realize those actually make 3 different units, and so I picked up 2 more of those, which were not easy to come by.
No, and I put them in like top 5 kits GW's ever made.
They're so good.
It's just a great box.
Once you start assembling it, you see like, holy smokes, these are incredible. And I saw people, they have that, and of course now they're coming out with another wave of Sister stuff.
Right.
But I saw people had that. There's that banner bearer now, and people were not excited about the head on the banner bearer. No, there's multiple heads. There's an armored one, and I'll be honest, like I didn't like the haircut. It's very reminiscent of like a medieval style haircut, right?
Right.
Totally fine. Wasn't for me, but I'm like, do you know how many Sisters of Battle heads I have sitting around right now? Like 50. I mean,
at least.
And that's because most of my sisters are unhelmeted because I just want to go the unhelmeted look. I just love it. I think I put helmets on. Don't hold me to this. I'm terrible with the units. So I haven't even played the army yet.
Right.
I built a 50 power level list so I can play with that, and then we'll go from there. But there's a unit that's effectively like bodyguards for your,
Celestians.
for your yes. Those ones I was like, I'll make these helmeted.
There you go.
And then I realized, I have a head glued on it. I'll try to pop it out, and I couldn't get it out without doing some cutting. And so I was like, okay, you know what? And I took a helmet and I hollowed it out with my drill, and I glued it basically to her belt, so it looks like it's just hanging on her belt. And I'm like, oh, nice. All right, that'll work. So the only ones with the helmets are really the Celestin squads and their Celestian squads, and then some characters. But most of my characters also don't have helmets. I just think it looks cooler without the helmets. So
yeah, absolutely. And I always laugh when people are like, oh, but it's not realistic, and you'd never go into battle unhelmeted.
Yeah, demons are realistic. Traveling through the warp and running into Tyranids, and none of this is realistic. Get over it.
Right. Yeah.
The Space Marines have a box that flies through the air. Like none of this is realistic.
If that's where you're looking for realism,
then you're struggling. Style over substance. Yeah. So listen, here's one topic that I did want to talk with you about. And this was kind of one of the things I was holding on to for the last episode. But I want to talk because here in the US, we are kind of making our way out of the pandemic a little bit. Still got a ways to go. I'm not saying we're free and clear. But here in California in particular, we have a very low infection rate right now, lowest in the country. And that is because of mass vaccinations. People have already had it. There's just like a lot of progress there.
Social distancing, mask wearing.
Social distancing, mask wearing. Yeah. We took it fairly serious. We stayed in for a long time. We were fortunate that we could do that easily. So one of the things that has happened over the course of this pandemic was initially I thought, this is great. I'm going to get so much painting done. Turns out that is not the problem.
Narrator, he did not, in fact, get
painting done. But here's the thing I noticed as we got towards the end of it. And I have like a kind of bi-weekly call with a couple Black Library people and stuff. Mm-hmm. We're just friends. And so we get on Zoom and we chat. And we were talking about this. And what's interesting is because the hobby, and we've done like that episode on the pillars of the hobby, but if you think about it, right, there's the collecting aspect of it. There's the playing aspect, the painting, assembly and painting aspect. I'll just lump those together. There's the playing aspect of it. There's the novels and lore pieces of it. But here's what I noticed for me personally. I wasn't playing it all because I couldn't get with my friends to play.
Right.
For me, you know, people talk about, oh, well, there's virtual tabletop and this kind of thing. And just doesn't do it for me. It doesn't scratch the itch for me. It's a very tactile thing for me. So I wasn't able to hang out with friends. So we weren't able to play. And because I wasn't playing, I wasn't painting anything because I was like, well, you know, I don't need to have anything ready anytime soon. And because I wasn't painting anything, I wasn't buying anything.
Right.
And I would read some Black Library stuff here and there. I'd listen to audiobooks, but that wasn't driving my hobby. And so the thing I've noticed is that this is a kind of walled environment, you know, that if one of those things for me breaks down, the whole system breaks down.
Right. And I think that's common. I think that a lot of people, I mean, I talk to a lot of people, you know, both narratively and, you know, especially competitively where, you know, they don't have that event to work towards
to drive
because can't go to events.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that juice just isn't there.
Right.
You know, and even just for playing, I mean, you know, Mark, you know, friends of mine up here that I typically, you know, we hang out, we paint and we game together and stuff. They just did other things.
Yeah.
You know, because it just wasn't, I think, you know, like I said, the juice just wasn't there. And I think that overall in the hobby, I think a lot of just the energy, just like the emotional energy and the emotional investment in the hobby comes from just going and hanging out with friends and playing this game.
Yes. Talking about it.
Yeah.
Right.
Just standing, like this game is about standing around with my friends and talking, and we are also playing 40K.
Yes, I agree with you 100%. For me, like that is the experience, which is why for tournaments, like I'm not, like they're not fulfilling for me because I'm just like, okay, I roll sixes. Okay, blah, 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 you know, and I'm just like, I'm not engaged. I mean,
you can talk to the other person across the table, but yeah.
Sometimes. I mean, I've met some of my best friends that way. Right. But also I find the majority of games, people are approaching that in a very methodical manner because they're just like, this unit's going to do this.
A couple times real quick, and
then it's all social.
Then you'll just hang it out.
Yeah, that's very true.
That's my strategy anyway. But
you raise a really good point. That's a. But really
I think it's just a lot of the energy, just a lot of the activity around the hobby.
Yeah,
is
social.
It's not even like, oh, I'm going to paint this so that I can play with it. It's just I'm playing, I'm plugged in, I'm talking to people about the game. I'm
which is getting me excited about it
and playing the game, and it just becomes this practice. And they all, like you said, they all kind of feed on each other. Where if you take out the one that has the most kind of energy to it, which is going and hanging out with your friends and spending time and getting set up and doing all that. The other ones, you have to be really motivated to do it.
Yeah.
And, you know, if people, I hate to see people like, oh man, I didn't get anything painted. It's like, did you stay relatively sane during the pandemic? Like, then you've had a successful pandemic. Like, don't even worry about it. Like, don't beat yourself up because you didn't get a bunch of models.
That is true.
You know, and whereas for somebody like me, I had to keep painting because it's my job and I enjoy it. But for me, that's my pressure release valve.
Yeah.
And so I painted an unholy amount of
I will tell you, I've seen how much you painted, and I look back at how much I didn't accomplish during the pandemic, and I'm like, I wasted this time. I should have been painting. But, you know, we've been focused on role-playing games and that kind of thing. I've run a Call of Cthulhu campaign for a year now. You know, we've been playing D&D with Travis and those guys. We've been playing Traveler and Warhammer Fantasy roleplay and all this stuff because it's just super easy to do over digitally. But I still miss being in person for those things. Now,
I'm sure. Yeah.
what I will say is what got me suddenly assembling all these sisters and stuff was I played 2 games.
Right.
You know, I played a game with Aaron against his Necrons. He had painted up a bunch of the new Necrons and he wanted to try them out. And I played a game against Austin before he moved out to Minnesota from here. And playing both those games, just like it instantly all clicked back into place. You know, because there was a point where I was like, do I
even like this game?
Do I even really want to play this game anymore? Look how invested I am in it. And I'm not feeling it right now. Doug is going through this right now. Doug's
been going through that for like 4 years.
He and Travis have a podcast, the Old as Hell Geeks and Gamers podcast. And, you know, he just did one where he's fallen out of love with 40K. But then almost the minute that was over, like, and we started talking 40K and playing, he was like, okay, maybe not. Right. Like, so I truly believe it's just, you know, once you get back into the flow of things, you'll enjoy it. Jody hasn't really had any desire or interest to play 40K. But again, I'm going to attribute this to I think you hit the nail on the head. I think it's that social aspect isn't there. And we're missing that.
And it's just that for the people that we play with, like our friends, like that's mostly what it's about. For me, it's an artistic outlet as well, but it's mostly about like, that's where I hang out with my friends. Yeah. Is playing 40K and doing that.
Other people may go to bars or go to game, you know, the game.
Go play around a golf or.
Right.
You know, go shooting or whatever. Now that I live in Idaho, but you know,
they do have ranges in California.
Yeah. But I think it just adds exponentially more energy to just that area of your life. Yeah. To have that going on and be talking to other people about it. You know, I'm not going over and being like, hey, let me tell you how I painted all this stuff. You know, it's like, hey, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? When are you free? When can you come over? And this and this and that. So I think for me, I played my first in-person game in, I don't know, 10 months probably or something like that. Yeah, that was me. Oh, yesterday. Yeah, in my garage.
What'd you play? Blood Angels?
So I played my Blood Angels and against my friend's Necrons, Destroyer Cult. And so an army that I had just painted for him. So I painted both sides of the table. And, you know, got shellacked, but that's fine. We actually, so one of the things that has really kind of opened the door for us here is me and my friends have all had 2 shots. Yep. Now same here. We're all fully vaccinated. Yep. And then Boise Cup is happening. We all have tickets to Boise Cup, which is at the end of June. And so that really kind of locked in something to work to shoot towards. Yeah. And even though, I mean, I'm ready to go whenever, but it really gives us a date to kind of
aim
work towards.
Yeah. Puts a stake in the ground.
Yeah. And then we signed up for an event in Utah in 3 weeks, in late May.
Nice.
So we'll be going to a GT. That's going to be a little nerve wracking, but I'm sure it'll be fine. They're doing masks and social distancing and stuff. So.
In Utah?
In Utah, yeah.
Maybe at the tournament.
At the tournament, they are doing masks and social distancing. Yeah.
Let me tell you, I have a team in Utah.
Yeah. Oh, no, I live in Idaho.
Yeah. It's very frustrating. Please go get your vaccine. We have done and are doing as much as we can. Yeah, no, I hear you. And it's crazy. The thing about the vaccine that's crazy is just how prolific it is now. Like we are spoiled in the US. You look at like what's going on in India at the moment. And it's just like, I've been telling a friend, I'm like, go down to CVS. You can go without an appointment. You can go get a vaccine shot right now. Yeah. Oh, well, I'm just lazy. Oh my God, you're killing me. You're killing me, dude. Yeah. Well, don't come over to my house until you go get it.
Right. And that's the thing. So I'm doubled down on my garage setup. I'm getting a lot of kind of more, because some of my friends are still more nervous than others. Sure. It's like, it's weird. It's strange going out and like we went out to dinner and I was like, this is weird.
When I went and got my first shot, like there were so many people there. I was like, this is really weird. Like I haven't been around this many people. Like,
yeah, and so I'm creating like a COVID comfortable gaming.
Oh, that's cool.
Not like we're not going to wear masks. We're not, because we're all vaccinated.
Because you're vaccinated.
We're just going to be in my garage.
Well, CDC said even if you are both, if all the parties that are vaccinated, you're fine. So
and
I feel
everybody
very
we know basically is vaccinated. So if we can go down to the game store if we want, or we can just hang out in my garage. I ordered a bunch of MDF terrain for my table to just get a playable kind of setup while I work on a more narrative setup. But and this is all like in the last 2 weeks since I've made some changes.
Did you sell off all that terrain that Brian Harvey painted
I did
for you?
Yeah.
Bet you're regretting that now.
I not for what I got for it.
Okay, never mind. You did get a good deal. You did sell it for a good price.
It was like it's long out of production, right?
Yeah.
So all the Wall of Martyr stuff and all
I have a fully painted one of those too.
One of my Patreon supporters had said like, "Oh man, I can't," because I had it all out and I took a picture of it. He's like, "Man, I can't believe you had that stuff. Stuff's worth a fortune." And I was like, "What?"
Man, I should have sold mine when you sold yours.
And so I like went on eBay and checked it out, and it was absurd.
Wow.
And coupled with that, it's not really that functional.
It kind of just gets in the way a lot of the time.
Yeah, or if you're in it, you get the cover save, but it's mostly just kind of it doesn't block any line of sight from anything.
Right.
So it's just kind of a table full of like inch tall terrain.
Yeah, but
so it really wasn't that functional. So coupled with that, I was like, I mean, I sold that set for like over $1,000.
Yeah, yeah.
Which was just like,
that's worth it. Yeah,
cool.
Something I didn't use, I got rid of for $1,000. Perfect. Yeah, So I would say I'm like you. I'm starting to kind of get ready, and to the point where somebody posted on the Independent Characters group, and I apologize for not catching the name of the person that initially posted it, but they had shown some new IKEA cases they got. I don't remember what they're called. Starts with a B. I'll post it in the show notes. But I saw their setup and I was like, oh man, those cases are so much nicer than the Detolf cases. And I had like nine Detolf cases. And so I sold them all at like $30 a pop. They sold in like 15 minutes. Sky took 4 of them.
Yeah.
Although he showed up in his SUV and I'm like, you're going to only fit 2 of these in there. And he's like, you think so? I'm like, yeah. Yeah. He's like, oh, I'll have to come back for the other 2. I'm all, okay.
Okay, sure.
I'll put them in my garage.
Yeah.
But they sold in like 15, 20 minutes.
Oh, yeah. I bet. I mean, I sold mine. I got a big old wooden China cabinet.
So
I've
been spending a bunch of time assembling. I could assemble a Detolf case in like 15 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
These things take me like 2 to 2.5 hours to assemble.
They look,
but they're gorgeous.
Though. I mean, they look really, really, really nice. And it's probably easier to add shelves to those.
Yeah, if I could, I just need to find. Yeah, it is. It is totally is because there's just pegs on the side that you just I just need to get some plastic or glass. Yeah, yeah. So I do want to add a few shelves here and there, but I'm super happy with the way they're going together. I actually have 1 more left to assemble. I've assembled 3 of the big ones and then 1 medium height one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm super happy with them. And then, I was just kind of reorganizing the whole game room to just make things a little more comfortable and approachable. And so,
I can't wait to see it, man. I can't wait to
come on down.
I can't wait to come down and hang out and play some games.
For sure. But yeah, I mean, I like I said, I played 2 games. I had an absolute blast. Played my 1,000 Suns in both of them. And they were close games. Both games were very close. And that just kicked it into high gear right away. And I was like, oh man, Aaron, when can you come over and play again? I was literally like, hey, why don't you come over this weekend and play? Oh, I can't. I'm like, this is terrible.
Come on, Aaron. It's a year. We have a year of games. It's funny because Bethany's like, oh, when are you going somewhere else?
Yeah.
When are you leaving the house?
Yeah.
She's like, right? I would like a quiet evening, please. So she's very supportive. So it's like, sure, have your friends over. We like having people around. And, and the kids are old enough now, they just hang out in the garage while we're playing. And it's, we have our group is just like, hey, when are you free? When are you free? When are you free? Hey, when can we get a game? Are you going to play? Like, are we going to go here on Thursday? Are we going to go?
Oh, that's awesome.
Like, so it's
kicking
there's
back
a
in.
lot of,
yeah.
Oh, it's kicking into high gear. And we're like, I'd like to play. I'm going to try and play a couple times a week, but that's not really that realistic. So I feel like if I try to play a couple times a week, I'll play at least once a week.
Oh, that's smart. That's smart. I think that the most I was playing was when we had I don't remember what it was, every Tuesday or Thursday at the Game Castle where we had the club going on. Like then it was like you show up all the time and play.
And that's what I've been telling people for years is like, if you just set that evening and that's what you're doing
every Thursday,
you're more likely to play. Like Thursday nights is our league night, and that's just what I do on Thursday nights.
Right.
So if
it becomes a part of the schedule
to be scheduled, if I can, I don't schedule it on Thursday night.
Right.
Because that's just, and Bethany knows that's just what I'm doing.
Right.
Versus trying to like schedule something every week with 2 kids and everything else. It's
never going to happen.
A lot harder.
Yeah.
To get that consistent game in.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm just excited. I'm super, super excited to get, because like you mentioned, I painted, I mean, like 11,000 points of Blood Angels in quarantine, which is insane. And like nobody's seen them like in person. Like a couple friends have been over, but I haven't. Yesterday was the first time I played with my army on the table painted. So that's always a great feeling.
That's awesome.
But I'm excited. What the bummer is, like, I painted all this and then I'm making lists for like this event later this month, and I'm still like, oh, I got to paint a couple more guys. How is that possible? But
it's never ending.
It's Space Marines, man. There's always something.
Well, I got to tell you, I'm looking at the sisters, and they're a lot smaller than Space Marines.
Oh man.
And as I look at it, I'm like, oh no.
Yeah. What have I done?
This might be a problem.
No, it's a labor of love. Sisters are a labor of love. You just have to accept that it's going to take a while.
Small batches.
Yeah, small batches. And just, I think because they're all very detailed, but it's all kind of the same details across all of the models. It's all kind of rosaries and the fleur-de-lis and the, armor and tabards. And so all those elements are similar. So across the army, you're not going to get like decision fatigue. It's just going to be, okay, this is what I paint. This is what I paint. This is what I paint. This, boo, boo, boo. And then you'll get into a rhythm painting them where, you'll just know how you're going to approach each model because you've painted similar models throughout the army.
Right.
And it's funny because I had some sisters and I was intending on doing a sister's army, and I did a test model and I was really happy. And then I started on the first squad and I was like, this is going to take me forever.
Yeah.
And I already have an army that's going to take me forever. My Blood Angels. So I was like, I would need something like lower impact. So I'm actually doing a couple of Imperial Knights stuff on the side. That's all kind of texture. And so I'm like, this is more relaxing than doing like a Sisters of Battle army, which is the opposite of that.
Well, listen,
you
have, so there's an event going on right now. Tablewar Charities is a charity, a foundation that is really trying to advance autism advocacy, meaning when you have children with autism, very difficult for them to get assistance from the public school systems here in the U.S. Tablewar Charities is looking at ways in which we can spend money to provide advocates or at least assistance towards helping with parents who have children who have been diagnosed with autism and are in the school system, and helping them get the resources they need to get assistance. And right now, we have a massive spring auction going on.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of prizes in here. The guys over at 1 Hour a Night a bunch of folks got together and painted a bunch of Marines. So they have like 100 Marines, one from each chapter, and a display shelf.
And I think Loopy put that all together.
Loopy organized the whole thing. Freaking awesome.
The logistics behind that is
it's literally sitting right here in my office. Like
really?
they shipped it to me so that I can ship it out. I haven't opened it yet because I'm kind of afraid to have to put it back.
Yeah.
I've been dealing with thousands of miniatures here. Like I moved them all out of my cases, and then I even had to I put them on my gaming table. I put them up on top of my built-in shelving. I had to go put some out on the pool table.
Oh my gosh.
And then I got rid of the cases, and now I'm finally starting to put them back in cases. But there's a early VIG registration for Adepticon for 2022, which is awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah, that I'm tempted to bid on. I guess I'm allowed to bid on these things too, is the thing. It's running through another, system that we paid for to do this. And so I can bid on some of this stuff, but I am.
There you go.
Yeah. Some of these things I'm actually interested in. There's an
just go pocket bid and just drive the bids up.
Yeah. We got, you do have some under your name now. Nice.
Oh, awesome.
You are there. What is it you're doing for, if I bid on you,
yeah,
do I get a date with Colin?
Yeah.
Depends
on the bid.
Can I get you to shave your beard if I bid?
No.
Oh, okay. So what is it you're offering?
You'd have to ask my wife. But no, I look like 22 without the beard.
You lucky.
No, so this is the second round that I've been involved with Tablewar Charities. Last time was Blood Angel Smash Captain.
That's right.
That I painted for the auction. That was really cool. And so of course when Todd asked me to do something again, I said, of course I'm happy to. I didn't have really a chunk of time in the painting queue for another kind of custom model. So instead, I offered up some of my time for some one-on-one tutoring, consultation for painting.
Nice.
And it's similar to what I do through my Patreon. One of my Patreon tiers, which is one-on-one kind of consult / tutoring for painting. So what that and this is through Tablewar. This isn't through my Patreon or anything,
right?
But what that entails is basically the whole approach of my Patreon is getting your army painted the way that you would like it to be, based on how you paint. I don't want to teach you how I paint. I want to figure out how you paint, what tools you have available, what tools you like to use, what paints you like to use, and then figure out how we can make the vision for your army achievable in a reasonable amount of time.
Right.
And get it painted, get it on the table, get a basing scheme figured out and things like that. So that's my goal, is more facilitate and lend kind of advice and help somebody kind of walk through a scheme or even just the steps. Okay, what do I paint first? What do I paint second?
Right.
Things like the kind of logistics of it, order of operations and things like that. So, but it's your time. I mean, if you want to just talk about Saturnine for 2 hours, I'll do that, So, or if you say, hey, I want to see how you edge highlight, I can do that too. So I can walk you through, here's how I do edge highlighting, here's how I do gold trim, whatever it is,
Nice.
That there's a premium on the gold trim tutorial, but
I was gonna bid on that. Just here's my Sharpie. I just like saying that because it gets on your nerves. I actually, what's interesting is doing my Black Legion. I'm using paint on those. I'm not using Sharpie, and it's great.
It's one of those things that it's a boring solution, but you just have to do it a bunch.
Yep.
And you get better at it.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
Most things in life.
For sure. Well, listen, you're doing this. You got you're in good partnership up there because you got Justin Kiefer's doing it also. Caleb Wissenbeck. You got guys from the Art of War who are offering coaching. Brad Chester, Nick Nanavati, those guys. You got some pre-painted models that are being bid on. And,
there's some cool. I know Dave did the Gazgul and the orcs, which looks incredible.
He's incredible.
And then I think John painted the Necrons from
the Indomitus
box, which look amazing. So there's a pretty
cool. It's actually one of the top things right now is this 3D printed Settlers of Catan map tiles and fat mat package. Here's the thing. I don't like Settlers of Catan.
You don't?
No.
It's fun.
I'd rather play a different board game with my time. But anyway, I just think it's kind of...
A lot of people do.
I think it's super cool. I mean, there's actually a wide variety of stuff here.
Yeah.
John French has sent over a couple, hardbacks for Siege of Terra stuff.
That's awesome.
That are autographed and a bunch of paperbacks that he autographed as well. And, there's a great lineup of stuff here. I think the Adepticon VIG registration... It's the VIG package plus early registration, and I think that ends in a live bid. I think I'm gonna go in on that, dude, because you can't get that VIG thing you can sign up for it, and you're signing up to get into a drawing for it now. And my God, I cannot wait for Adepticon 2022.
I'm hoping to be there. That would be my first Adepticon.
Oh, dude, you got it. I cannot believe it hasn't gone on for 2 years now. And I'm just so sad and disappointed. I'm already excited, and it is not until March of next year. It's 11 months away.
Right.
And I'm already like, oh, yeah, we're going to do this, and we're going to do that. And I can't wait. I cannot
wait. I mean, that's one of the things, too, that, that COVID is kind of, because pre-COVID, it was always, I'll go next year.
Yeah.
And then now you can't go. And I'm like, well, crap. I want to, okay, well, now I'm just going to buy the ticket. I'm going to figure out if I can do it later, but I'm just going to buy the ticket and go. And so that's something that has definitely changed. So I'll be at LVO. I want to go to Adepticon.
Yep.
I want to go to Nova. So I don't know if I'm going to do them all in the same year, but
that's a lot to ask in 1 year, dude.
Yeah. I think definitely LVO and Adepticon, I think, are the two that I want to hit.
I've been to all three now.
Yeah.
And, different strokes for different folks. Everybody has their favorite event to go to. For me personally, Adepticon, Nova, LVO in that order. I did a lot of Las Vegas in my 20s, so I'm kind of over Vegas.
I've never been.
Oh, well, it's a sight to behold.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any delusions about it. I mean, I've been sober 11 years, so Vegas is a little different for me than it is for, I think, a lot of people.
Yeah.
I'm more of a Reno. I was always more of a Reno guy, but
I was always more of a Reno 911 guy.
I was more of a Reno drunk than a Vegas drunk, but no, I'm excited. I mean, all my friends from here are going to LVO and stuff. Yeah. So I'm excited. It's easy. It's super easy. Right?
Yeah.
Everybody flies to Vegas. Everybody.
That's one of the great things about that venue though, is that airport is designed to get people in and out really efficiently. Right. So listen, they're all great events. I just have my preference.
Of course.
And I don't even I'm not, I gotta be careful what I say, but I'm not a huge fan of metropolitan, I'm not a huge fan of cities, downtown areas.
Right.
And so for me, I recognize that Adepticon is not really in Chicago, but it's Doug Johnson's always well, let's go downtown to Chicago and we'll go have dinner. I'm like, I'll stick around here. I'm good. I'm going to go hang out with a bunch of gamers, whatever. I just want to stay. Man, I miss it so much. It is literally my Christmas. Christmas has been canceled 2 years in a row, and it's ridiculous. But
I'm excited, man. I'm hoping I'm not going to be on the VIG package, but I'm hoping to at least get a ticket. And
part of the hardest part of the VIG package, once you get it, is getting all that crap home. I'm telling you, it's been
because it's box games.
Matt Weeks told me one year, he was bring a bag just for the VIG stuff. So I packed a bag in my bag, and it wasn't big enough.
Jeez.
I like gave away some stuff to guys that had driven there because I was like, I can't take it. It's just too
Crazy
much stuff. So, but the thing I've also realized is, yeah, you may get $400 or $500, I don't know what it was, $250, $300 worth of stuff. But if you're not going to use it,
right,
then what's it really worth to you?
Right.
I have a board game I got, Level 7 or Code 7 or something. Over there. It's still in the shrink wrap. I got that.
I have
3 years ago. It'd have to go on.
I have somebody's 2-player starter for Dark Age.
Yeah, I have that one too.
Away.
I have that one too. And actually, I played that game with Dave Taylor that year there, and I was super excited about it. I was like,
"It's an incredible game."
Oh, it's super awesome.
Yeah,
not easy to get the models for.
They stopped making them.
Yeah, now they have. But even back then, like it was difficult.
Still wasn't easy. It was just through Cool Mini or Not, and But the sculpts, they
were so good. It's such a bummer that they've stopped making it.
One of my favorite like miniature universes.
Yeah, it's really cool.
And it's really just incredible. Just incredible. But yeah, it's one of those like completely, it's like Arena Rex where you're like, this game looks amazing, but nobody plays this game.
Nobody plays.
And
you have to have all the stuff and have somebody come over.
All the stuff. You have to convince people to play that instead of one of the 3 GW games that you play. And it's just like, is this the 5th miniature game on the tier?
Right.
Like, that's not.
Yeah. That's how I feel about board games. Like we do geek and stuff where we get together and play board games. We probably have 50, 60 board games there.
Yeah.
Like we play, if I play 6 or 7 throughout different ones throughout the weekend, I consider that a win.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, well, listen, Colin, first off, thank you for donating your time to the Tablewar Charities thing. I very much appreciate it. We appreciate it. Todd and I both very much appreciate this as the rest of the board.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. And it's such a great, Todd personally has a child with autism. So this is where it comes from, really a place of him understanding what he had to go through. And fortunately that he had somebody on his side during that thing. My wife is a public school teacher, and I see her torn between what she's allowed to help with or say and not allowed to say, because of the administration and whatnot. And so, these kids really do need somebody on their side, and they're kind of advocating for them. And we're hoping to help with that a bit. So thank you so much for your time. And thanks for taking the time to chat with me today.
Always.
And
for your non-podcast.
For my non-podcast podcast. Who knows how many more of these I'll do until I just come back.
This isn't the independent characters.
Until I just come back to doing the podcast. Everybody seems to think I'm going to come back. And I'm like, maybe. I mean, you never know. But right now, I'm so busy at work. It's insane. Once COVID's over, maybe it'll help but I've seen my goals for the rest of the year, and I'm pretty busy. And those goals translate right into my bonus. So for me, it's like
those definitely take precedent.
There's some money involved there. Yeah.
Yeah. But also, like we were talking about earlier with just the energy surrounding the game.
Yeah.
If you're hanging out, playing, talking the game and you're energized doing that, every couple weeks with your friends, that's where the podcasts come from. That's where the energy for that comes from. So
the other thing I thought about doing is running like a Dark Heresy game and kind of doing like a role play component to it. But the problem with that is that sometimes I just want to play. And when you're recording something for an audience, everybody has to be on the same page that like, look, we're all recording this for an audience, and it's not just that we're just playing for ourselves. We're taking into account everything else. So you got to stay focused. There's not any goofing off, unless I have to go do a ton of heavy editing, and nobody wants to do that. Right. So that was why I shot that idea down. I was just
this is sounding less attractive.
Forget it. That sounds like a lot of work. I'm just gonna play for now. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Anyway, again, thanks, Colin. I super appreciate it. And I'll talk to you soon.
All right, buddy.
All right. Hey, this is Carl from the Independent Characters, and I'm joined here by Todd Kincaid of Tablewar and Tablewar Charities. And I want to talk to you a little bit about our spring fundraiser and how we're helping families fully access education for their children with autism. Todd, tell us a little bit about what the spring fundraiser entails.
Yeah. Hey, Carl, thanks for having me. Yeah, well, this is our first completely virtual event. We're going to be running from May 1st to 10th, and we're going to have a live auction. We're going to have a silent auction, and we're going to have a lucky draw with some really amazing prizes, including the AdeptCon 2022 VIG with early registration. That's awesome. The 1 hour a night guys put together this amazing 100 Space Marine chapter display. It's modeled off the Games Workshop poster. It's amazing. And I've got about 25 other really amazing things that people can go and bid on through silent auction. So it's May 1st to the 10th. It's awesome.
That's awesome. So where do people find out more about this?
Yeah, well, we tried to make it real easy. You go to tablewar.com/charity. That's going to take you right to the event site. And before you can make any bids or buy any lucky draw tickets, you'll need to register with the Get Starting button. It'll take you about 2 minutes. It's really simple. Once you're there, you'll be able to keep up to date with everything that's going on for that May 1st through 10th event.
Well, that sounds awesome, Todd. I hope to see everybody there. It's for a great cause, and it's going to be a lot of fun, and there are some fantastic prizes in there. So see you there.